Hi folks, Taco Bonsai here with episode 10. I am filming this the same day and I'll release it the following day as episode 9. Again, thank you all for all your support, your comments, likes, interactions. I'm going to be very busy tomorrow getting some work done on my car. I drive my daily commuter is a project car for me as well. So it's a lot of work. I may not have time to film anything tomorrow, so I figure I'd film today, let it come out tomorrow, and that way at least I'm putting out steady content. I know I can skip a day, but I don't have to, so I'm just doing what I can. This one is gonna be asking for interaction. Please, anybody who knows, anybody who is an expert or in any way willing to offer advice, and please, if you don't know what you're talking about and you give me advice, just tell me that you don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't mean I'll disregard your advice, but it means that I'll know whether or not you feel confident in it. And that's what I need to know. If you're not confident in your advice, you can still give it. Just give me that disclaimer so that way I'm not following poor advice and not spreading poor advice in the case that you were misinformed or that someone gave you that advice with great confidence that was not good advice. I don't blame anyone for having wrong information. I often have it. But a lot of what I know about bonsai is from word of mouth, from what people have said and my own experience. So it's not to say that it mirrors your own or that everybody is always right. But I digress. We'll get back to bonsais. These are kind of, I'll start with what's right here. This is a clearance plant indoor. It's an Audrey, a ficus Audrey. It was on clearance and it needed help. I think it had pests on it. I treated it for what I thought was spider mites. It did have like webbing up here, but as you can probably tell, it's nice and tall. It has grown since it's been in my care. This leaf up top has been great. I'm going to do something that I probably shouldn't do so early in the life of this plant. I know it's not super healthy. It's got, something going on with these, but it's been sucking up all the water I give it. It hasn't shown any signs of root rot. The soil's been drying out, with the exception of yesterday and today because I did soak it down. But it's been doing very good about responding. It's too tall for me. I know it's more of a house plant, but I would love to have some branching, some ramification. Down low in the trunk up until about here, I've got great branching, great ramification. So it stops up here, if you can see that. Let me see. Let's see if I can turn it so you can see. So down here you can see there's all kinds of branches. These are nice, inch and a half, inch and a half, and then this is almost 2.5 inches. And it kind of continues that way up until the very top where I'm back into short inner nodes. I don't want this to become, I don't want this to become an issue plant. And with how tall it is and how small the root base is, I think I needed to take action. So you folks get to see me do the first work in episode 10. This will be coming out on Saturday. But this is going to be the first work I do on any of my trees. I'm not going to go all the way up to here, even though I could. Maybe I should. No, because I don't want to continue to have long inner nodes. Even if I cut this in half, I find, and it may be inaccurate, I find that when you cut, the amount that you allow for dieback is reflected in the next bit of growth. So let's say I cut right here, I find that my next growth will have inner nodes about that long as conditions are about the same. Same thing with leaves. When you constantly remove larger leaves, I find that it looks at the largest leaf that was dropped. It only grows to that point, kind of holds it. Now it's not perpetual. That's an ongoing project for any kind of minimization of leaves. But this one, I know it's got some leaves that are kind of suspect. This one needs to be reduced for space and also I think to continue to like it as a plant. I don't think I'm going to kill it. So, first bit of work, I'm going to take it right here, just below that longer internode. I'm gonna go just about halfway. Leave about that much for a little bit of dye back. I will seal this after it stops bleeding because it's a ficus. It will of course bleed forever. I am going to take off these leaves roughly right now, and you know, this will probably root in water, so I'll do that. Why not, right? Probably root in soil as well, but I'm going to put it in water to try to root. I have a procedure for that. I've already got one in the water, but I think I can find another container to put this in so I can let it root. So that was the first work I've done on my discount ficus Audrey, because it was in need of it. So now, even if it keeps these big leaves, although I hope I can get leaves about this size, they're really pretty. Shoot, I need to stop talking so rapidly. They're really pretty. So I'd like to be able to use it as a more small plant, even if it's not a, I have no idea what that was. Even if it's not a bonsai, I'd like to keep it small, and I think this is much more the size that I want it to be. So that is one giant cut all done. Sorry, big cut all done. And that's the first one I started with. These next couple, not so crazy. These are more crab cactus. These were ones that came in the same container as the first one I showed in episode 3. You know, nothing too crazy. I don't know that I've had much new growth except down low, which is disappointing. On this one, there's a little bit of pink growth there. On this one, I'm not sure what is going on with it. All these flowered at one point, but I've got a little nugget right here that I didn't notice before. It may have been there, but you know, with things like this, it's really tough to say what was and wasn't there because they grow so slowly. They haven't shown any signs of being sick or underwatered or overwatered, so I'm pleased with that. I put these rocks in here to just keep them in place. They don't have a whole lot of roots, especially after being taken from a larger container where they were all strapped together. So these are just to keep them from flying over. This is the one with the buffalo on it. I just moved it to this one to keep it a little more stable. All right, and I've stopped counting. I know I should keep counting the plants. I've stopped. All right, this is one of my new favorites. This is a Yamadori. So they were clearing, near me, they're doing a lot of construction. They were clearing to run conduits underground, I believe for street lamps and utilities like that. So they had to saw off a whole bunch of plants to be able to drive through to get the machine through. This is one of them. So it was cut off with a chainsaw, and it's very clear. This is very rough cuts. I didn't mess with those, but I saw it sitting there. I think it's got a pretty decent base on it. I'm not sure how I'm going to make it work. See down here, it's a nice little flare, even from this side. Really nice curve to it coming down. Good taper. I think this is a ash. I don't know if it's a green ash or white ash, but all of this greenery, I know there's some root suckers coming out. I'm leaving them for now to let it regain some vigor. And it looks like this is a plant that will heal well. But I'm letting it all kind of grow out, and you can see I've got ones up higher on the softer wood. The bark on this is incredible, but even on the hardwood, I've got one coming out up here. Got one, yeah, it's growing nice. So hopefully I can keep it going. I'll probably remove anything with smoother bark and just focus on the really, corked up bark. It had a little bit of algae on it, which I'm very happy about because it makes it look even older that way. But yeah, this one I just hacked it out of the ground. It did have a couple roots on it, but they were mostly bigger, and stuck it in here to see if it would grow, and it's been growing. I'm really excited to see if I can make something out of this. It may end up being an ugly tree that I have to throw away one day because it just doesn't go anywhere, but I'm gonna try. And it's got me really excited because not all the trees I'm able to collect from situations like that make it. All right, this is kind of a funny one. So I don't know if credit's the right word because clearly I haven't been doing too well with it. I'm trying to figure out the care on these. I'm kind of trying to treat it the same as my schefflera. Yeah, umbrella tree schefflera. I'm trying to treat it the same as my schefflera, but as I'll show you with my next plant, I'm not very good at that either. I'm just going to pull out some of these leaves that are in here. So it's been pushing out new growth, back budding. You can see this doesn't look unhealthy per se, but sometimes it dries up, and it's been losing leaves too. So like here I've got a little bit that's dried up, fell right off, but these are new branches too, and I'm not sure if there's a real correlation between new growth and dropping this many leaves. Again, I'm not doing great with this. So for this one, the person who I think knows the most about it as far as treating it as a bonsai is Dave. And that's Dave's Bonsai. So Dave, if you are watching this or someone sends it to you, I don't know how to tag people in videos, so I'm not going to do that. This is a goldfish plant. I got it because I saw that you had gotten some, and over the years you developed them as bonsai. Now, these aren't in any way as developed as yours. These are probably less developed even than the first time you showed it. But that's okay. I don't mind being patient, giving it years and years to develop and become something worth looking at, worth developing. I really like the way yours looked. I think my leaves are different from yours, so I may have a different variety. But those flowers are so cool. And I think on a miniature plant with little flowers like that, in proportion, they're quite big. But on a little plant like this, those flowers just look so amazing. And especially if I get it to be kind of mature in appearance with a little bit of corking up to the lower parts of the bark, some good branching going on, I think it'll be an impressive look. Yours are already way farther than I've ever seen any goldfish plant. I've tried to find images of ones that are older and mature, and it's just little bushes in a pot. They're not even impressive. So I do try to keep it slightly moist, not moist, but slightly moist. It doesn't seem to be hurting it, but again, I'm not sure what's going on with my leaves here and why I'm losing so many. Nina's gonna check it out. Nina, what do you think? Say hi to everybody? No? You're just gonna check it out? Nina's a plant expert, but she doesn't speak English, so I'm still trying to figure out what translator to use from Nina to English. I do want to learn other languages, but really right now I'm struggling with it. All right, hey, that one you can actually damage. Can you give me a minute? She listens very well. She listens very well. So I got like a yellow leaf here. I'm just gonna go ahead and take that off. It's not doing anything for me. Yellow is not a color that this plant does well with. So this is kind of what it looks like. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the goldfish plant. I do have one of the crab cactus tucked in here. It does have some arrow roots on it, but I think it's rooted down below. This one's been in, this is the oldest cutting of my crab cactus that I've got. And I mean, when I say that these segments look beautiful, they look beautiful. I've done no pruning on these goldfish plants. That may be part of it too. Another dead branch. But yeah, I'm really not sure. They just seem to consistently put out new growth, and maybe it trills. Maybe I'm not keeping them humid enough. So again, Dave or anybody who knows, if you could reach out and help me a little bit with these. These are in mostly bonsai soil, but since they're succulents, I didn't put them in a pure inorganic mix. Maybe that's what I need to do, is put them in pure inorganic mix. Right now there is a lot of organic soil mixed in. And we'll call that a forest right now. It's not, it's just a tray planting. All right, there's a piece of juniper in there. Here is, speaking of plants I'm not doing well with, my schefflera. These are dwarf variegated schefflera abricola, I think. These are from Home Depot. I've had them for about a year, so not very long. I do like their growth. I've cut them back a couple times, but I'm disappointed because same as with the goldfish plant, I can't seem to keep them from drying up new growth. Perfect example right there. And I haven't been really pulling it off. the new growth that's dried up. I haven't been really pulling it off of the plant. And it hasn't really been falling. It's just been so small I can't find it in here. If I do bump it, then they kind of fall off. But yeah, new growth on all of them. They're all quite small, which is intentional. I don't think that any of them have any developed roots at this time. This one has a little bit of air roots to it, but yeah, doesn't mean anything. Those may have already dried up and died. I cannot tell. But this is one that I'm struggling with because I know that these are supposed to grow really well. I know variegated versions are not as fast of growing. These seem to grow fast, but they're just not growing in a healthy way. I had an issue with scale on these that I resolved. I don't see any scale right now. I could be wrong, but I don't see any scale right now. I probably spent a month with soap and water and smaller tweezers, not these big forceps, not these big tongs, trying to peel off scale and treat it. So I think I've done with the scale, but something else must be plaguing this. It's in a pot that it had a chip in it. I just put some nail polish over that because I had some dark colored nail polish. Got this pot from hands, so thank you for the good price on the pot because not that money's tight, but I like this pot. And it was, even though it was chipped, I still liked it. I was even saying that I might just sand it down and put some clear over it and let it be a chip. I don't mind imperfection, especially in pots, but I really like this glaze color. I really like the shape of these pots. Again, Chinese pot, beautiful glaze, unglazed on the inside. It's got 2 drainage holes, which is also awesome. I love when there's good drainage holes. But I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. So any creator that knows schefflera, especially the Dwarf variegated version, if you could help me out, I would some advice on that too. And I think that similar to my goldfish plants, that's my own fault. Now, I'm gonna call on a different creator that I don't think I've interacted with much at all. This is hard to see. I don't know if those are roots in there. I don't know how the roots on this are supposed to look when they're water rooted like this. This is a Picaria aquatica, water chestnut, Guarana chestnut. As you can see, it's got 7 leaves on each of these. I don't know if you can see. It hasn't shriveled up. It seems to be doing well. These are new. I cut off all the leaves on this. And it's got a new one that's starting to come up, but I think that new one's kind of dry, so maybe it has decided it's gonna give up. It's just used up energy in the stalk. I'm not sure, but I wanna know what these are, if they're just growths from like fungus or mold, or if they're actually roots, because if they're roots, I wanna plant it. I'm just not confident enough to take it out of here until I know it's got some roots on it. This is about 2 months in, and these just started a little while ago. It was a very happy plant before I cut it down. I still have the bottom of it because of cutting off the top. But for this one, I can't remember his name, but Jarhead Bonsai. I know you've done some rooting with these, so you know what the rooting in water looks like. If you know if this is roots, please let me know. So I've called upon Dave, the guy from Jarhead Bonsai, who I should know his name, and anybody who's willing to help, of course. If these aren't roots, I need to know so I can just give up on them. If I need to put it in soil because it's already been too long, then I'll put it in soil. But I'm lost. I've never seen one of these root before in person, so it's completely new to me. So that was a bunch of new plants, did a little bit of work, asked for a little bit of help, did a little bit of cleaning. Cleaning is maintenance, cleaning is work. And that wraps up episode 10, the first work I've done on any bonsais on my channel. Episode 10. And we're still not done with all the indoor plants. I'm gonna have a couple more that I need to do. Makes me nervous to push that, but doing things like this, it makes it easier for me to get more of these leaves close to grow lights and to get sun to more of the leaves. I'll probably lose this leaf right here, but I'm hoping I get some branching before I do. My lowest branch is down there, but I think that I can use this one as a branch, this one, you know, so on and so forth, and kind of try to have them moving around the tree, not just left, right, front, back, but kind of moving, I don't know, 75 degrees at a time, not in a spiral, but around the tree. So I've got opposing branches that aren't completely opposing, and allow me to have depth on this as well. I don't know if it'll work. I know these are houseplants, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I saw that another creator posted a video. When you're viewing this, it'll have been yesterday. So I'll watch that video, interact with that person, and see if I can get some advice on this. But yeah, it's been recovering well, it's been growing well. I've only had it for a short period of time, so I'm pleased with it. It was cheap. It was $6 from 35, so I am pleased with that. It has a $10 sticker on it, but they gave it to me for $6 because it had been there for a while. And I hadn't looked at it, but let's take that off. I know what it is. It just says discount plant. So yeah, another good plant, or another good little planter too. I like little green ones like this. They're kind of wide. I can plant things deep in them, support them really well. They're not so deep that they create issues for me. Yeah, now I'm just rambling. So thank you again for joining me, Taco, on my channel, Taco Bonsai. I appreciate all the interactions, all the support, all the comments, all the criticism. If ever there comes a point where it's impolite, that's fine. Just give it to me. I can handle it. I'm a big boy. No, not physically, but I'm big enough. Yeah, so comment, like, and subscribe. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you.